Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Newhouse, for organizing the special orders, and thank you for presenting to this body your piece of legislation with all the reforms of the Endangered Species Act. It is something that is extremely important. Coming from the state of Missouri, we have folks that come from all over the country to hike our trails and to float our rivers. We're also home to the first Ozark National Scenic Riverway, designated by a national state park in southern Missouri. And so we have many people that come to southeast and south central Missouri to look at our nature, to see the native plants and the native species, which several of them are designated within the Endangered Species Act. You made a comment earlier, Mr. Newhouse, about only 3% of the species come out of the Endangered Species Act, that they come back. By any other measure, that would be complete failure. And that's why we need these reforms. That's why we need these revisions. Nowhere is the pain of the Endangered Species Act regulations, those burdens are felt no greater place than local communities. And that's why we have the legislation, the Empowers Act. And it mandates, not mandates the communities, it mandates the federal government to make sure that they get local input from communities in any kind of designation for an Endangered Species Act. It's common sense. It's an easy approach. It's something that I think we can all get behind, since they know their area better. When you talk about the Endangered Species Act, this is something that is very personal to me, and it's personal to the people that I represent in southern Missouri. Just a few years ago, we had a young lady, 13, 14 years old, who was floating with her family on the White River. And a very unfortunate event happened where she got caught up underneath a broken dam and she lost her life. That family outing turned into a day that they will never forget, a day that I won't forget. The big issue here is that dam shouldn't have been there, or it should have been rebuilt or replaced. You see, the dam was broken in a flood several years earlier, but was never replaced and couldn't be torn out, even with the local community wanting to tear out the dam. And the reason being is because of an endangered species, one called the Ozark hellbender. It's a salamander. It was found in the White River, found near the dam, so that could be a resting place for this endangered species. Because of that, a young lady will never graduate high school. She'll never go to college. She'll never walk down the aisle. That's unacceptable. We're fortunate now that dam no longer exists, but it shouldn't have taken the loss of a life for federal bureaucrats to get their act together to get that dam removed. And so this is one example that's extremely personal to the people that I represent, and it's extremely personal to me, of why we need these reforms in the Endangered Species Act. Government should not stand in the way for safety. An endangered species should not have more importance than a human life. And I'm looking forward to these reforms. These reforms bring sanity back to the Endangered Species Act through common sense, Missouri common sense reforms. Reforms such as transparency of the rulemaking process. It helps putting a stop to nuisance lawsuits from extreme environmental groups, using the best sciences available and critically bringing local communities into the decision-making process through my bill, the Empowers Act. We all agree common sense review is needed, but what we don't need is redundant and unnecessary paperwork that only serves to keep Washington bureaucrats employed. Thank you for having me, Mr. Newhouse. You're doing the Lord's work, and I appreciate the honor to be here with you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Smith.